Creating in WWE 2K25 just got a whole lot easier. And no, I'm not talking about creating a superstar with the awesome face textures, because that is an art of itself. But if you are trying to generate some awesome imagery for your creative superstar, like t-shirts or even tight designs, boot designs, and even custom superstars and arenas, then this might be the video for you. Hi, what's going on? I'm Jesse. Welcome to the Pro Wrestling Shoot. If you're new to the channel, do me a favor, hit the like button, hit that subscribe button. We're trying to reach our massive goal of 20,000 subscribers before WWE 2K26 comes out. I know it's probably a little unrealistic, but it's good to set some high expectations. You'd really be helping me out. I haven't created on a 2K game in many years. When it comes down to the 2K games, I usually just stick to my original superstar, get the face texture made from one of these amazing creators, and then I'm off to the races with my attire. But usually I'm on Photoshop doing the attire up, and I tend to think of myself as a little Photoshop savvy, but not everybody is that way. A lot of people don't even have the time or patience to learn Photoshop to begin with, so they start stealing images from online, using the WWE 2K25 or whatever 2K game you're playing assets, and sometimes the game assets are just very limited. If you wanted to put custom tattoos together, all that sort of thing, it just becomes a whole mess. But thankfully, if you're like me, you don't really have enough time to always Photoshop up some logos or even go and ask somebody to commission logos for you, and you want to still have a family life, you still want to be able to hop on the game, and if you're like me, make some content for YouTube from time to time, then we have AI. Now I know what you're thinking, AI is AI and it causes some issues, but not really, not when it comes to generating images for your championships or even logos for your superstars. And on this tutorial full guide, I'm going to show you exactly what I used, and it's absolutely free, and it's going to be a good way to get you back in the creation game and pretty much take all the stress away from getting on Photoshop or even learning Photoshop to create your images for your titles. We have built a pretty decent sized community in our Discord server of people just now having fun creating championships or even logos for their superstars, because this just works, man. It literally takes a couple of minutes out of your day and you have a logo generated, and thankfully with Copilot or ChatGPT, which are the programs I will be using, you can generate different variants going forward of what images you want to do. Today we are going to be doing a tutorial on how to create a championship, and that brings its own issues in, especially if you're generating a logo from AI and you're not using Photoshop with the exact same shape of a plate on the WWE 2K games. But you can use the plates still if you keep them in a certain shape. But first, let's head on over to Copilot. I have given them a description of what I want within the title, and you can make this a pretty lengthy description as well, and it will generate pretty much anything you want, but just make sure to be detailed with it and tell it exactly what you want. And if you want to save time and not have to make the transparent background yourself, make sure after every update that you are giving Copilot that you tell it that you want it to be a transparent PNG background, and it will generate that for you, and then just takes all the work out of it. So as you can see, it has generated a couple of different requests that I've made through Copilot. It has messed up a couple wordings, but thankfully you can go back in there and change it to exactly what you want, and Copilot does a really fantastic job at creating exactly what you want on your image. Once you have the image that you desire, you can now save that image, and you can go in and tell Copilot to give you matching side plates to go with your championship title, and it will generate some good side plates. And if they are not the side plates that you are looking for, just make different variations to what they have created. But once again, be detail oriented and make sure that you are telling it exactly what you want on the title and what shape you would like these plates to be, because if you don't get the shape right, it's not going to fit on the plates that you are trying to put them on when it comes to create a championship. The problem with create a championship is you can go into create a championship and the plates are hard to match up a shape to, so typically I like to go for the circle plates because it is just easier to match your logo up with. But if you can take one of these shapes like the big gold title or even the tag team titles or some weird shape that they have within the game for for the plates, and you can actually upload that to Copilot and tell them to create the championship in this desired shape. And it's kind of a hit and miss whether or not it's going to be the exact shape to match up to, but chances are you're going to get pretty close, and you can still stretch the logo out. And when you stretch the logo out, it's not going to look exactly like your image because it's a stretched logo, but you are still going to get a pretty cool looking finished product at the end. And it's really up to you what you're happy with, but typically I like to stick with the circle title look because it just fits perfect within the plates themselves. But you don't always have to go with a plate to begin with. You can remove the plates on the straps and you can just place the logo on the strap and it will work the exact same way. You can fit it to whatever strap that you want, and some of these titles actually turned out pretty good. Here's a couple of pictures of the ones that I have done without plates altogether. And if you wanted to go with this method and put your logos on the strap itself, it is not going to give it that 3D effect for the title, but it still looks pretty good in game. So it's really a preference at this point on what you would like to do. This program does a fantastic job at creating anything that you really want to match your creative superstar or even arena designs if you're just trying to set up a fast universe mode within WWE 2K. But as far as the championships go, I'm hoping that we get to a point within the WWE 2K franchise that we can just make the logos themselves the plates and not have to use the default plates that they have in the game. Let us use our logo and have this be the 3D look. Let us update the depth. Let us update how this image looks on the title, and if we place the logo, then that becomes a plate. Make it a 3D image, and then this would solve a lot of our issues. You could literally make whatever you want through AI and upload it just like that. And as you can see on Copilot, I have made a couple of different changes throughout this video, and it has shown you how it has updated the plates that I want. And now that we have the side plates and the main plate that we want for our championship title, we're going to jump right in and customize it. All right, now that we are into custom championship mode, you are able to just go in to your base settings. You can go to your templates. And personally, because we got a circle style title, I want to put this on a plate. I don't want to just use any strap, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the big eagle title. And then I'm going to change the front plate design. I don't know why the menus move so slow on this game. I'm going to choose original championship number 2. But when I choose original championship number 2, I'm going to hide the nameplate. So now we have our strap design. We are going to pick some different style side plates to match the square ones that we have. And I tend to like these ones, and I also like these ones. So these two, along with the other ones, will work just fine for your square design. So we're just going to select these for the purposes of the video. Right where we need to be, we can select it. The material that you're going to choose is steel, but you can play around with whatever you like. If you choose steel, you're going to go over to the emboss, and then you can change the emboss to where it really pops this color out of the title, and you can kind of see what the color looks like. You can zoom in. Looks pretty nice, and you can change that to your liking. Some people like more, some people like less. Me personally, I emboss the hell out of this thing because I like to just see an engraved looking title, and that's just personally what I like. But if you don't want to use the material for steel, if you want a shiny look and you have diamonds, or if you went with like a diamond look for your plate on the AI over on Copilot or even ChatGPT, you can come over here and choose plastic, and it gives it, for some reason, gives it this kind of diamond sparkle. Obviously you can see the shine from the plastic, but when you're backed away on the title, you won't really be able to tell. So when you're on it just like this and you have diamonds covering your title, it kind of gives it that cool effect, and I don't know why it gives it the sparkle effect, like they're diamonds glistening in the sunshine, but that is the effect it gives it. And you can also come over here and see that it does have like a plastic tint around the title, but in game you won't be able to tell with that plastic tint, so you can use it as your diamond looking title. But for me, I'm gonna choose steel. And I do have 100% emboss, but I think we are going to take that down just a notch. And as you can see, it matches the color of your title. Turned out pretty nice, if I do say so myself. Now, the reason why we are doing this with plates is because personally, I like the 3D look of the title with the plates. Now, you can do this same thing with AI and try to maybe copy an image and just play around with AI as much as you can to put a image or a shape within AI and tell it to match that exact shape. But from what I found, it is pretty hard to get AI to do that. So I just tend to stick with the circle titles. But you don't even need the plates at all. If you are okay with a plateless title and you just want to stick an image on that plate, you can do that as well, and it looks just fine in the game. I personally just like the 3D look when it comes to this title. The 3D look to me just stands out, and I like the plates. But then again, I'm a belt guy. Obviously, you can see I got a little mini belt collection in the back. I obsess over these things, and I took many hours learning this, and I created several on top of several titles for our custom universe that we have over on Twitch, which you can check us out if you would like. Twitch at the Pro Wrestling Shoot. And for here, we're just going to copy it over to the other side, and then you switch over to the right side. So unfortunately, the logo that I picked did not have the same coloring as the logo that the AI has made for me this time, because I didn't match it with the side plates and the whole shebang, right? Like, you have to make sure when you are creating a title, you have to make sure that when you tell AI to match the side plates to the main plate, that they are the exact same color. And typically when the AI matches the main plate to the side plates, they are going to keep the exact same color tone. So you're good there. But creating the older images that I just tried to use on this, I did not match them to this specific main plate for the title. So the color was a little bit off, looked a little bit funny. So for the sake of this video, we are just going to use the exact same logo that we had just put on the other side plates. And we are going to go ahead and copy that as well over to the other plate, and we're good to go. And look, there's your new title that you had just created, strictly from AI, no Photoshop needed. You can just tell it exactly what you wanted within the title description, and you are good to go, man. And it creates different variants of every single thing that you create on either Copilot or ChatGPT. I'm not really sure what other AI stuff is out there, but I'm sure you can use anything else that's pretty similar to the AI software that I'm using today, which is Copilot. Copilot has created and generated tons of logos for not only my creative superstar, but tons of championship titles for the custom universe that we run over on Twitch. And it's doing a fantastic job. As a matter of fact, in our Discord community, we have tons of people now creating the titles of their dreams, basically, without the stress of doing it on Photoshop. This is a one-size-fits-all, man. Literally anybody can do this method and make some great-looking championships in the process. And from here, you can pretty much do whatever you would want. If you wanted to change the color of your strap, if you wanted to add an image to the strap, which I am going to do right now, I have found out that when you add an image to the strap, you can kind of give it that tooling effect to where it looks like your logos are engraved within the strap. And maybe this isn't new, but once again, haven't created in years. So this was the effect that I found out that I like. By adding the NWW logo right here, we're going to change the material to pretty much whatever you want, but I like to use crocodile scales for some reason. This is just what I use. You can use pretty much whatever. We're going to go colorless, and then we're going to take the emboss down. And now it has given this title an effect that looks really cool. Looks like the NWW logo is just etched into the strap. And it kind of gives it that tooling effect that you would see on AEW or even some of the WWE belts today. They have the WWE logo engraved within the belts. It kind of gives it that effect, and you could do this with any logo that you want. So we're going to stick with that, and I usually put it on both sides, but for the sake of this video and time sensitive, we are just going to accept that. If you wanted to, you could also go into the strap, you can add an image, and you can use reliefs or even create your own image to use as a belt tip. Now, it's not going to cover the entire belt, which obviously 2K needs to get a hold of this and give us a little bit more options when it comes to what we can do in creation mode with some of these things. But what I like to do is give it this effect, and you can probably use any of the gold images that it has within this game and just kind of stretch them. And then now you have a belt tip on the belt that looks pretty decent. It only covers half of it, but it still gives it that 3D look and feel, and it's pretty nice. And you can do this with any logo. Like I said, you could even use your own custom logos if you wanted to and emboss them out. But as far as this video goes, these are the belt tips that I'm going to use. This is my tutorial on how to create a championship, and hopefully you've enjoyed this tutorial, and hopefully you can find some really cool creations and make some interesting things that you can post on Twitter, or even make some YouTube videos or some different content, or just for your own personal use and enjoyment. So if you found this video helpful in any way, leave us a like, subscribe to the channel. It helps us out a great deal, and we'll see you on the next one. Take it easy.